So, we all know that discussion speaking about Krishna, narrating the glories and qualities, magnanimities of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the Supreme Divine Absolute, is just that of unlimited oceanic character. It's unlimited ocean. Like in a vast ocean, limitless ocean, all parts of the same limitless ocean actually connected to each other. Can you open the window a bit? Ventilation, some light. Also on that side, if possible, for air passage. Good for everybody.
Yeah.
He's also the
What
you know.
So,
yeah.
see, although we see the ocean is very big, space is very big, universe is very big, but so one end of the universe seems to be not connected with the other end. Actually, they are connected because it's part of the same being, part of the same entity, existence. Although very big, very vast, but all the parts, all the portions of the same huge universe or multiverses are connected to each other. All the parts of the same vast ocean actually connected to each other. All the parts of the same space, huge space, limitless space, connected to each other. All the parts of the huge time connected to each other. Although it seems to be, they are so distant. So distance also connects to the nearness. This is the very, it is a transcendental scientific truth. You may question why I am discussing about. So in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, when we compare the great, magnificent, transcendental holy scripture as Srimad Bhagavad Gita, many truths, many aspects of the truths, many aspects of the absolute truth, relative truths in relation to absolute divine truth discussed. But they are all connected with each other. All the verses, all the meanings of all the verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita connected to each other. Whether it is first chapter, second chapter, or all the chapters, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 12th, 16th, today I see the topics of subject of discussion relating to the 16th chapter, 16.1 verse 1 to 3. Significant. But some may think, Lord Krishna spoke about different aspects of the truth in a different way. all separated way or all different from each other. They are at the same time simultaneously. They are also one being of the supreme, all-pervading, absolute truth. Just as Srimad Bhagavad Gita as a whole, one being. Each and every verse and the meanings of each and every verse of Bhagavad Gita also connected in one being of Bhagavad, one being of the absolute truth. Therefore, as we go to look into the meaning or several aspects and multiple aspects of the meanings of the same verse, one particular verse of Bhagavad Gita. So as we can look into, we can understand and explain in a specific way, distinct manner, some particular meaning, specific meaning of a particular verse of Bhagavad Gita, or several verses. Also, we can look into, we can understand the meanings of the same verse in relation to other verses. Understanding the meaning or meanings of a specific verse of the Bhagavad Gita, in particular, as it particularly means a distinct way, as a distinct verse. At the same time, also understanding the meaning of the same verse in relation to other verses, meanings of other verses. Like these days, scientists explain in quantum mechanism. In the quantum mechanisms, see something happening. Some of the subatomic, subatomic particles, while active on this part of this world, at the same time, the same particle also found to be active thousands of miles away at the same time. At the same time with the same nature. Very wonderfully mystical, but truth. Wonderful mystical truth. Our great devotees, pure devotees, great devotees, realized souls already spoke about such reality, such type of accents of the absolute reality thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago. But fortunately, it is seen, fortunately nowadays, scientists can relate to that fact. Scientists can understand that fact. That how each and everything in this huge, vast universe, Hare Krishna, here you go. In this huge, vast universe, full of wonders and mystery, also connected to each other. Each and every part, each and everything. They are all separated parts and particles from the absolute on the material plane, but at the same time, they are also integrally connected with each other. So, see, it comes to that great principle propounded by Lord Chaitanya, that of acintya bhedabed. Simultaneously one and distinct. Of simultaneously one and distinct nature, simultaneously that of distinct and oneness, which is finally inconceivable, which can be comprehended to some extent by our limited intelligence, brain. I repeat, can be comprehended to some extent in certain way, some relative ways, but it cannot be fully comprehended. Therefore, it's called inconceivable. Finally, ultimately, it's all inconceivable, meaning transcendental to our limited intelligence and knowledge, functions of realizations, but still truth, like found in the quantum mechanism. It shows certain mystical ways of its character on that level of the quantum mechanism, quantum character of the truth, that it is manifesting both ways at the same time, yes and no. It's just the other day I was reading. See, scientists are having a hard time to define it in a particular disciplined way, limitedly disciplined way. Okay? Whether this or that cannot be. It is this and that, positive and negative, this and that, yes and no, at the same time. And that is truth. Appears to be self-contradictory, but it's not. Because the flows of the positive truth and negative truth both are flowing together, side by side, an interrelationship. They are complementing each other, apparently contradicting each other. Also, they are complementing to each other. Shastra says, annaya vyatireka abhyam. Flows, the laws of vast creation, maintenance, destructions, sisti sthiti layam, all flowing, all actually continuing and flowing through positive and negative way at the same time, through interrelationship. Annaya means in a positive way, vyatireka abhyam also negative way. They are contradicting as well as they are complementing to each other, supplementing to each other. This is very wonderful mystical realities. Everywhere it is. Simultaneous coexistence of the interrelated flows of positive and negative truths. Annaya vyatireka abhyam. Simultaneously. And how they are flowing together in spite of maintaining their distinct characters, relative distinct characters, at the same time how they are flowing together in oneness is very mystical, wonderfully mystical, and finally inconceivable. So, it is everywhere that Mahaprabhu's philosophy is not just a philosophy. It's absolute principle, all accommodating, all encompassing principle about the central, infinitely. The central absolute truth of infinite character is that it can be explained through acintya bhedabed and quantum mechanism. Quantum mechanism also can be explained through acintya bhedabed principle. Because Mahaprabhu's principle is not just a philosophy, not just a kind of logically explained, some laws of some logical truths of philosophy. It is truth. It is truth itself. It is not a truth. It is the absolute truth, supreme absolute truth, manifesting in the form of a principle through some language, acintya bhedabedam, but actually it's a deity representing infinite, absolute, supreme truth, principle of acintya bhedabed, character. Like when we say Bhagavan, Ishvara, God, it's a word, a lingual expression, although it looks limited. But at the same time, what it represents, manifesting unlimited. Not a word, not just a word, not just a term, not just a sum total of G-O-D, not just sum total of Bhagavan, B-H-A-G-A-V-A-N. So, although being expressed through certain word and term and some language, but it's representing the supreme, infinite, absolute. So, manifesting in a small, at the same time, huge, infinite way. Relative way, absolute way, together, both. When you say Bhagavan, it covers everything. Infinitely comprehensive. But we are uttering in a word. See, small. Although it appears to be small, it's not small, it is huge, infinite. So, the Supreme Infinite is manifesting in the form of, through subatomic form. I repeat, Supreme Infinite Absolute manifesting in subatomic form, although it looks very small, but that represents infinite in quantum mechanisms stage, because it's not just a subatomic particle. It is related to the hugest one being. Hugest one universe. Because they are so interconnected, so fast, traveling with light speed or even more than that, so fast. It is everywhere. All are everywhere. At the same time, it is located to a certain place. Simultaneously, they say simultaneously they show this simultaneous distinct and oneness. Simultaneously, they are representing character of distinction, oneness and distinction. Located in a small place, in a small way, subatomic particle, but the same particle, so connected simultaneously with the particle of the other part of the universe in the higher and deeper quantum physics. Very mystically wonderful reality. Lord Chaitanya mercifully explained about such character of the supreme absolute divine reality so many years ago. He mercifully presented to us about the supreme absolute reality of infinitely wonderful mystical characteristics. Also finally empowered with infinite knowledge, power, knowledge, ecstatic bliss of love of God. Acintya bhedabed principle is finally qualified with that. So, like the way electromagnetic principle works, electromagnetic waves and connection happening. Here you are connecting with mobile phone, connecting through mobile phone through electromagnetic energy. Almost simultaneously, it's connected to the other part of the world, thousands of miles away. So fast, so quick. In one way, it is traveling. Other way, I'm not talking about our sound going, talking the electromagnetic energy, they are actually connected. not that traveling from here to there, or sound traveling from here to thousands of miles away, or vision traveling, sound and light traveling. But the media, via media, which is called electromagnetic energy, yes, you're all working in that field, is a one being. It's already there, conductor, okay, pervading all. So, as soon as this portion is connected, it is also immediately transmitted to another part. That's how we are contacting. Immediately. So, simultaneously, it is distinct because we are relating to this portion, starting talking to this part. It's not that part, thousands of miles away. It is this end, not that end. At the same time, this end simultaneously means connected to that end. Like of a line. Suppose eternal line. It's a line. First dimension, or second dimension, or third dimension, fourth dimension. So although it's a line, it's a portion, okay, particular portion of this end, of this line, or particular portion of the middle end, or last end of the line. Relatively last, I'm talking of the infinite line. So, in this way they are distinct. It's a particular portion of this end and that end or middle portion, distinct. But it's the same line. In that way, it's no more distinct. Whether you touch this end or that end or middle end, you are touching the same line. Whether you are touching this end or that end or this end of the ocean, middle part of the ocean, you are touching the same ocean. Immediately. Whether you are touching here, there in our body also, nice system, nice example of explaining that system of organic whole. Whether you are touching here, touching there, touching any part of the body, brain immediately connects, touching the body. So that the knowledge of the brain is not being limited. Okay, so from the tip of the finger to from the toe to the head, wherever you touch, immediately your being is feeling into that. Not limited over here, although I'm limitedly touching here, but I'm touching my whole body at the same time. Though I'm touching a particular part, at the same time, that part is related to the organic whole, touching the whole body. So if it pains here, it gives pleasure in this location of my body, any location of body, or bringing pain, that is not remaining limited only within that area. It's being felt by whole existence. Oh, paining. Whole existence is disturbed. Although it looks like a particular part is affected. A particular part of the body is affected, but actually it's disturbing the whole existence, affecting the whole existence, whether our body is feeling pain or pleasure. Why I'm describing all in relation to any verse of Bhagavad Gita, any verse of Holy Scripture. Because they are ultimately relating to about the same supreme absolute truth. So in some way, all those verses, all those particular verses have got, and I repeat, all those particular meanings of those particular verses have got their particular meaning or meanings. At the same time, those particular meanings are all connecting to the holistic meanings, to the whole, to the infinite whole world of which is accommodating all the meanings of all the verses about the same supreme, absolute, central, infinite reality, truth. Therefore, we can look into, connect to, and understand the meaning or meanings of each verse in a particular way, in particular context of the meanings. At the same time, we can also connect to the same meaning of the same verse, particular verse, in connection with the whole world of the meanings of all the verses. All the verses of Bhagavad Gita, all, not only Bhagavad Gita, all holy scriptures, which are relating, finally connecting to none other than the same supreme, indivisible, absolute truth of infinite one characteristic, Advaya Jnanam. That supreme, infinite one, infinite absolute, which has been described through the holy scriptures, through the term like Advaya Jnanam, the subject, ultimate subject of the non-dual knowledge. Not just dual knowledge, non-dual knowledge. Infinite knowledge. Subject of the non-distinctive realization. Not only distinctive realizations, also non-distinctive realizations. Same truth also explained through the verse of Upanishad. Going to describe, while describing about the supreme, absolute, infinite. Om Purnam, you know, that's famous verse, you all know. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamivachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. See? So what the scientists are discovering today through quantum mechanism, already such truth has already been discovered and realized, thousands of years back by the great realized souls, because these are eternal truth, connecting to the supreme, eternal, absolute being, not a partial truth to be discovered today, and yesterday it was not there, that truth was not there in millions and billions of years ago, in the beginning, today is being discovered, so today it is coming to existence. No. Ever-existent truth, only being discovered today, that's the difference. Discovery means discovery. Discovering means discovering. But the truth remained only, but it remained in a covered way. It got discovered so that we understand today. When it was not discovered, we didn't understand. We thought it's mythology. People thought it's mythology, belief system, imagination. But with the discovery, it's no more just mythological imagination. It becomes the truth, realized, truly realized to be truth, absolute truth. See, again we find negative and positive aspect. One is doubting, imaginary, mythological things, kind of doubting. So it's a negative side. Now the positive side is, with the discovery of the same truth, all the conception of it, mythological expression or imagination like science fiction, all are gone now. Now it's being same truth being realized. No, it's the truth itself. It's not just conceptual imagination, something, imaginary concept. It is truth, really real, not just ideally real, it's really real. Today is being realized. Same truth was realized by the great yogis, great pure devotees, full of wisdom, full of vast wisdom, thousands of years back, manifesting through the meanings of such verse, Om Purnamada, without any laboratory science, without any scientific mechanisms. They realized about the same truth, transcendently wonderful, mystical, vast character of the absolute truth, of the truth of perfection, truth of all perfect character. It's not all perfect, it's a perfect character. And they're describing it in a mystically wonderful way. Describing the supreme, eternal, absolute truth in a wonderfully mystical way through such verses. Absolute truth of perfection, the supreme perfection, supreme perfect, absolute. Supreme, the truth, supremely perfect, absolute. Truth of the truth of supreme perfection, absolute nature, unending nature, being described through that verse. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamibocchati Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyati. Apparently, such meanings cannot be fully understood by us. It is the same perfect truth, whether that Om Purnamada, whether we are feeling about the same perfect truth over here, Purnamidam, whether this character of the truth or that character of the truth. Whether it is the same truth, whether manifesting on this end of the life or that far end of the life, it's the same one. When we add to the same truth, when make addition to the same absolute, remains same. You subtract from the same absolute, remains same. So I repeat, whether you add to the same supreme infinite absolute, it remains same. Subtract from it, remains same. Factually, you neither can add nor can subtract to the infinite. But relatively, it is being explained in a relatively conceptual way for our clearer understanding or easy understandings. Okay. Nothing can be factually added to or subtracted from the real infinite. Then it will no more remain to be infinite. It becomes limited. Something is subtracted, so lacking something. Something added means something plus, added. So it means it had some lacking, so that something had to be added further. The chance, the scope was still there. Means it was lacking that which is now added. Something subtracted means something taken away, so it is lacking that also because taken away. Actually, such conception, limited concept, cannot be applied to the infinite. But the great wise realized devotee explaining verse in that way for our relative way of understanding, because for our easy understanding, it becomes easier for our understanding when things are more expressed in relative manners, through image, through calculus, through some calculative image of conception. We cannot easily conceptualize everything, supreme infinite truth at the same time. In order to conceptualize something, I repeat, in order to conceptualize something, understand something in particular way, it has to be relatively manifested. Then we can conceive of it, we can understand. Because as soon as we are going to understand anything, how we are understanding in our brain, how we are understanding in our feelings, through certain image, certain concept, relative conceptual way. In a relatively conceptual way, through certain image or certain thought process, certain type of imagination, certain type of feelings, but it's a relative way. We cannot truly understand the absolute whole at the same time in a holistic way. It's not a holistic way again. These are all lingual limitations. We have to somehow express. See, the way we are expressing also limited way. But what we are expressing is absolute infinite. Mystical union, simultaneously one and distinct nature at the same time. Another example. Expressing something through a limited term, apparently looking limited, but actually expressing of infinite. Infinite, I-N-A-F-I-N-I-T-E. It's a limited term, few letters, a limited word. This is called relative. But what we are meaning through it, expressing through this limited word and term, is it limited within few letters and one word? No. Simultaneously one and distinct. Simultaneously distinctive way, infinite letter, when it is composed, that word is composed with few letters. I-N-F-I-N-I-T, infinite. That represents the relative side, that of distinct nature. But what it represents, that is nature of absolute oneness, of infinite character, infinite nature. When we say infinite character and nature, although we say character and nature, it's not one character or one nature. It's mystically, infinitely wonderful character and nature combining all within, all types of relative characters and natures within. That is the character and nature of the infinite. See, both are there. Simultaneous distinctive ways and one ways. Simultaneously distinctive character and character of oneness. Both are simultaneously happening together. So in this verse also, same. Acintya bhedabed principle. Mahaprabhu's acintya bhedabed principle also re-manifested, or it has been manifested in another way through such verse of Ishopanishad. Om Purnamadah Purnamidang Purnat Purnamivacchati Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyati. So, whether you add to the same infinite, remains same. Subtract from the same infinite, remains same. Purnamidang Purnat Purnamivacchati Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyati. So Purnat Purnamivacchati. Same infinite can manifest also in infinitest way. Full, fuller, fullest. At the same time, it remains to be full. It neither becomes fuller nor becomes fullest, because it is already full. So if it is already full, how can it be fuller? Then something was still lacking. It has to be fuller. Then it was not full in the first place. How can it be fullest? Then it was not full in the first place. So it's the same truth. That's what that verse is meaning. Same truth, expressed different way. Same fullness. Same fullness being described to be fuller and fullest. So, it is fuller and fullest. If we can say the same full cannot be fuller and fullest, then also it is lacking in quality. Why? It cannot grow more. Why? It has to remain limited within the sameness. Why? It cannot be manifesting with different more dynamic characteristics to be fuller and fullest by quantity and quality. If it cannot do that, then also it is limiting itself. Apparently it's a paradox. But actually it's not a paradox. This is the reality. So therefore, that absolute, supreme, absolute infinite truth also has to be explained. That full has the ability, has got the qualification to be fuller and fullest. At the same time, it doesn't require to be fuller and fullest because it's already full. Full means full. It's not half full. It's not semi-full or half full. Full means full. How can it be fuller? There's no question arises to be fuller and fullest. No question arises to be plus or minus. Those concepts arise on the plane of limitations, calculative plane. For the infinite, plus, minus don't arise. At the same time, the existence of plus, minus, both are included in the same infinite. Infinite is not devoid of plus and minus. So same reality being nowadays realized by the scientist in a very wonderfully mystical way through quantum mechanisms. Going deepest, touching the deepest level of the subtleness. They consider that is the deepest level, but actually there's deeper, much deeper level than that. Much deeper level of existence than what they have discovered today in the quantum mechanism. And such deeper level is inexplicable. Up to quantum level of the subtleness, up to the quantum level of this subtleness, can still be explained, still be realized to some extent, discovered to some extent. But going beyond that, going deeper than that, subtler than that, not yet realized, but still, that's also reality. Therefore, Supreme Lord, Supreme Absolute, Supreme Lord means ultimately Supreme Absolute Divine. Supreme Absolute Divine Truth has been described by the Holy Scriptures to be Anoroniyan, Mahato Mahiyan, smaller than. It can be so subtle. Supreme Absolute Divine Truth can be so subtle, can be manifesting so subtle way that it becomes smaller than the smallest. It can reach such levels, such dimension, such dynamic, such dimension, which is smaller than the smallest. At the same time, the same truth is manifesting as bigger than the biggest. See, it's again a mystical, wonderfully lingual way of expression. Can anything be really smaller than the smallest? No. But it's a mystical, paradoxical way, apparently paradoxical way of expressing about the infinite. That's what is infinite. There's no other way to express. Because we never know which is the highest or deepest, subtlest level, smallest level, subtlest level of the truth. Therefore, it is expressed as Anoroniyan, meaning it is smaller than the smallest, subtler than the subtlest. I repeat, subtler than the subtlest. At the same time, simultaneously, the same truth is existing as bigger than the biggest, huger than the hugest. And this, some experience and realization of quantum mechanism, the truth about quantum mechanism expressing the same reality. is so subtle, subtler than the subatomic particle level. At the same time, it's existing all over the universe. At least it's now realized to be, that it's all over the world. Like this electromagnetic activities can be existing. It is flowing all through this world and beyond this world universe. It's one being, one holistic connection through flow. It's flowing. Means different parts are there involved. Therefore it's flowing. If it is just one being, there will be no flow. So it's flowing, but it's one flow. When something is flowing, it can be understood in a static way, at the same time dynamic way. Yes, both characters are together in a flow. That of static character, this moment, this portion remaining here, exactly here, now it is flowing. So it is limited, relative character. But when this is the same reality of a particular portion of the flow is realized in a distinct way, it is there, limited. But when it is considered to be the part of the whole flow, whether flowing forward or flowing back, part of the whole flow, it is one with the whole reality. It's not a particular part of the flow. It is flowing, it is connected. The particular part of the flow of this end also connected, simultaneously connected with the other end of the flow, because it's flowing. Quantum mechanisms can experience that simultaneously. And all the scientists are wonderstruck. They are being wonderfully confused. And they like to be confused. Such discovery they are having, bringing confusion, very wonderful confusion. That confusion also leading to something that they realize, ultimately the realization of the truth is beyond their brain, transcending their brain, transcending their limited conception. They have to admit that truth beyond the ego. They have to admit. So wonderful, it cannot be calculatively, disciplinedly defined. When you want to see, it is there in quantum physics level, quantum mechanism level. When you want to see something, it is there, the same particle. As soon as you don't want to see, it is no more there. Slit level of tasting. So, at the same time. It is there, it is not there at the same time. Supreme Lord Krishna also manifested. He explained about this reality about himself. Supremely wonderful, vastly, infinitely, mystically wonderful characteristics of him through acintya bhedabed way, through those verses. Bhagavad Gita. Maya tatamidang sarvang jagata bhakta murtina masthani sarva bhutani na chahang tesu avasthita na chahang tesu avasthita na chahang tesu avasthita na chamasthani bhutani paswami yogamaisaram. I am not going into the thorough analysis of such verse. It will be taking time. Anyway, need to be analyzed. So, maya tatamidang sarvang. I am everywhere. I am everywhere. I am existing everywhere. Everything existing in me. Like Isha Bhasramidam. These verses are interconnected. Therefore, I am saying, I am giving you the example. The verses like Isha Bhasramidam sarvang yatkincha jagattang jagat. Supreme Absolute Truth, Supreme Lord, present is present as omniscient, omnipresent.
Yes.
Supreme Absolute truth, present everywhere through omnipresence at the same time. But he is present in this particular portion. Also he is present on that particular portion. He is present at the same time this particular portion. So many particular points of the existence. At the same time, he is, or she, Supreme He, Supreme She, is remaining present everywhere, all over, in all pervading way. In particular way and all pervaded way at the same time. Acintya bhedabed. So, Krishna describing, I am everywhere. I am omnipresent. I am everywhere, everything is in me. I am nowhere, nothing is in me. Sounding very self-contradictory. It's not. Rather, it is meaning self-fullness, self-completion. It is actually meaning self-completed character, self-sufficient character, self-full. Self-full character. That meaning, I repeat, Maya tatamidang sarvang, everything is me. I am everywhere. Everything is in me. So, nothing is really separated from me. Nothing is different from me. Okay? I am everything. Everything is my parts and particles, different ways. So, it meaning, he is saying, I am everything. Everything means distinction. Described in a distinctive way. But while he is describing to be everything, means all things, no more distinct, everything coming into infinite one character, infinite oneness of the truth, one being of the truth that of infinite nature. It's not limited one, only one, it cannot be true. No, that one, that oneness can be, not can be, it is combining innumerable number, 1, 2, 3, 4, innumerable numbers within that. It is that kind of oneness. All the innumerable relative numbers, when coming and united into oneness, they no more remain as innumerable. They become only one. And same one also manifesting simultaneously innumerable, through innumerable numbers. Innumerable numbers means it's a symbolical way of the portions, representing parts. Partly existence and holistic existence. Relative and absolute. Relative existence, absolute. Both at the same time, simultaneously. That is acintya bhedabed. Truth. So, Krishna is explaining about his wonderful, infinite character through these such verses. I am everywhere. Everything is in me. Okay. I am nowhere. Nothing is in me. Masthani sarva bhutani na chahang tes savasthita. Then finally, next line he says, Nachamasthani bhutani. I am not in those, they are not in me. Nachamasthani bhutani. Pashyami yogamasham. This is me. See me. Try to factually see me. Try to see me actually. Factually. Try to understand. Here seeing means understand me, realize me, this is me. I mean, when he is saying, I am nowhere, nothing is in me, meaning despite of this reality, I am everywhere, everything is in me, yet I am not bound by anything. I am the Lord of supreme, infinite freedom, infinite free existence. I can be there, at the same time I cannot be there. I may be there, may not be there. I am there, at the same time I reserve the right of not being there. At the same time, I repeat, I reserve the full right with full, infinite freedom to be there and not being there. Well, to be there and not be there. At the same time, this is paradox, but it's not a paradox. It's like two different aspects of the same reality manifesting at the same time. Light and darkness, plus and minus, positive and negative. We are just viewing it differently. Sometimes the same reality of viewing to be plus and sometimes to be minus. Sometimes to be zero in between plus and minus. Zero is not really zero. Zero also represents so much. It's connecting to both sides. Side of the plus, side of the minus. So, zero, something which is connecting to both sides, which is connecting and already connected to both sides, plus and minus. How can it be zero? It is bridging. It means it has got something. It's a reality, although apparently we think zero means zero, empty. It's not emptily empty. Such emptiness contains some truth. That emptiness representing non-emptiness. Certain truth, it is existing, it has entity, it is existing, it is bridging both sides, flowing to the both sides, uniting both sides between plus and minus, that neutral stand. So it is not a zero. That neutral stand has got so much reality in it. See, but relatively we say zero, like something empty, neutral, or no. State of neutrality is not devoid of truth, devoid of power. It is full of power also in different dynamics, in different dimensions. Truth manifesting through plus, through minus, and in between zero, all are the same truth manifesting through different dimensions. They are interconnected. Zero cannot exist without the concept of the plus or minus. Minus cannot exist without the concept of zero and plus. Plus cannot exist without the concept of zero and minus. Nothing can exist. None of them can exist without each other. Minus cannot be without plus and minus. Zero cannot be without plus and minus. Minus cannot be without plus and zero. And plus cannot be without minus and zero. So interrelated, so interdependent, expressing the same truth in distinctive manner. So, as this can happen, as this can be conceived simultaneously, although minus is opposite to plus. Zero is not plus, zero is not minus. They are all different realities, representing different parts and aspects of the realities. So they are different from each other. Minus is apparently opposite to plus. Plus is apparently opposite to minus. They are different from each other, so it looks like contradicting, self-contradictory to each other. It's not. At the same time, they are the same reality, the aspects, parts of the same reality, plus, minus, and in between zero, representing same one infinite reality. no contradiction. Although some apparent contradictions are found, paradox, that is apparent contradiction coming because of our limited calculative idea, knowledge of that, experience of that. It is happening due to, caused by, I repeat, it is happening caused by our calculative, limitedly calculative, relative concept of that portion, that part of the reality. Otherwise, it's one being. Advaya Jnanam. Advaya Jnana Brajendra Nandanam. Krishna. Krishna means, Lord Krishna means the supreme, absolute, infinite, divine truth. Personified. Transcendentally, wonderfully personified. That is Krishna. He has got his wonderful, mystically, wonderfully beautiful form as we describe and see Krishna. At the same time, he can also be manifesting in so many other different, wonderful, beautiful forms other than what we are looking at. But representing the same infinite truth of Krishna at the same time, although manifesting through innumerable different, beautiful, wonderfully transcendental, beautiful forms, but same Krishna, same Lord. See, therefore, why did I start explaining? In order to explain, and in order to understand the meanings of the verse of Bhagavad Gita, 16.1, she has fixed. Daivi Sampada, qualities. We can also understand its meaning of such verses in relation to all the verses, holistically, in relation to so many other verses of the Holy Scriptures. At least so many other verses which are interconnected with the meanings of such verses. Then we understand its vast meanings, all-pervading way, holistically. We may try to understand the meaning of such verses relatively. Oh, such and such are the meanings of this particular verse or period. In that way, you can also understand the meaning or meanings, multiple meanings of this such verse in relation to the whole, holistically. Then we understand the meanings in a holistic sense, with vast conception, relatively and absolutely. So in that connection, I came to be explaining about this acintya bhedabed reality, supreme, infinite, absolute truth, Supreme Lord. See, ahimsa sattvam akrodham Shraddhaya. I remember, let me see. Abhayang sattva sangshuddhir jnana yoga tapas devasthiti dhanang damascha yaggascha Shraddhaya stapa arjavam. It will take another 1 hour to explain the meanings of such verse. Tomorrow. See, abhayang sattva sangshuddhi. Abhayang sattva samsuddhir jnana yoga vyavasthiti. Dana damascha yaggascha saddhayas tapaharjavam. Ahimsa, what I was saying, I was chanting the second verse. Ahimsa sattama krodha styaga. Okay, shanti rapuisunam. So, see, in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explaining the true conception knowledge about Abhayam. Abhayam means fearlessness. Sattva samsuddhim, becoming, sattva means goodness, pure goodness. Samsuddhim, sattva means goodness, character of goodness. Samsuddhim means sammak rupena, shuddham, it is samsuddham. Sammak rupena in Sanskrit, explaining its derivative meanings according to the root meanings of the Sanskrit term. Samsuddhim means sammaka rupena siddhim. Oh, it is samsuddham here. Samsuddham, not exactly siddhi. Samsuddham is sammaka rupena shuddham. It is samsuddham. Means very purely, very properly pure. Samsuddha. Sammak rupena means very properly, very appropriately. Shuddha means pure. So a qualification, the qualities or the mode of goodness which is very properly pure. It's a pure, highly pure goodness. Or best quality of purity. Samsuddham. Fearlessness. Then samsuddham. Then vyavasthiti. Such qualities. Sattva samsuddhir jnana yoga tapasya. See here, jnana, yoga, tapasya. These are all being discussed. Now, they are manifesting each aspect. They are all each aspects of the great qualifications pure devotees should be having in their lives. Therefore, Lord Krishna describing Daivi Vibhag, Daivi Sampada, the treasure of the qualities, the great treasure of the great qualities in the mode of goodness, in the mode of best goodness, pure goodness, or best pure goodness. Who can have that? Only pure devotees of Lord can have such quality. It's not possible for a limited mundane person, conditioned jiva soul, to have such standard of qualification, having the pure mode of goodness, not just ordinary type of goodness, not just common goodness, pure mode of goodness, best quality of goodness. Only pure devotees can have it. Abhayam, fearlessness. Although apparently he is talking about fearlessness, not just only fearlessness. When that qualification of proper fearlessness comes in our life, when we can see ourselves in a liberated way beyond conditionings, no more materially conditioned, no more materially controlled, no more controlled by the mortal laws of nature, mortality, then no more fear. Mortality representing destruction, something we are going to lose, something I may not have. Okay, something going to lose, oh, I'm going to lose my protection, losing my security, losing my life, going to be destroyed. These are all causing fearness. So as soon as somebody can be uplifted, upgraded, uplifted beyond the mortality, limited, mundane plane of death, mortality, then only one can be actually fearless. So such qualification doesn't necessarily mean some fearlessness of a soldier in the war field. It is included in the meaning. There is also fearlessness of a warlord, a great soldier in the war field. That is one concept of fearlessness. But over here, the concept of the fearlessness, definition of the fearlessness being described by Lord Krishna is much more than some ordinary type of calculative definition, that ordinary limited definition of the fearlessness. The concept, the definition of such fearlessness, covering, all encompassing, it means transcendental, immortal, transcendental existence of our being, of our identity, of our life, which can be actually fearless to the eternity. Because that is immortal, beyond the death, beyond the concept of any fear of losing anything, dying with anything, no fear, therefore no fear. So such fearlessness comes with the liberation, to be being in connection with the immortal perfection of life. In connection, I repeat, in connection with immortal perfection of life, such fearlessness comes, because there is no fear of losing anything there. No fear of dying, losing my existence, losing anything. No fear of insecurity or less protection, being devoid of protection, safety and security. No such question arises on that transcendental plane of all assurance. I repeat, no such question of fearing about something arises on that highest transcendental plane of all perfection. So such term has got relative meanings, fearlessness. Such term I repeat, so such term, that of fearlessness, such word as fearlessness here, representing its relative concept. Just be fearless. When you become Krishna devotee of the supreme, immortal, supreme, absolute truth, you become fearless, full of courage, inspiration, become fearless. But that actually means your perfect attainment, immortally perfect attainment, all immortal, perfect, unlimited attainment of supreme, absolute, divine, infinitely, the supreme, absolute, infinite, the most, best, beautiful, best, powerful, best, knowledgeful, and best ecstasy giver. The best Lord of best ecstatic love experience. Best Lord of best, supreme Lord of supreme ecstatic divine love experience. And when we have connection with that absolute truth, naturally devotees become completely fearless. Parikshit Maharaj showed that. He simply went beyond any kind of worries whether takshak will come and bite, his body will stay or it goes. It doesn't care. Didn't care. Rose above that level of mortality. Went beyond. And when Shukadev Goswami asked him, he said, by your grace and mercy, now I have been able to surpass level of mortality. I am now firmly situated on the level of deathlessness, immortality, perfection. So it doesn't make or break, doesn't matter to me whether my material body goes or stays. That is real fearlessness, a sign of true holistic fearlessness, which is connected to such perfect attainment that there will be no more question of losing anything, losing any protection, losing any security, safety, or you become loser in any way. So, fearless. See, just to explain one term takes time. Thereafter is describing about aspects of jnana, yoga, tapasya, thereafter sattam, ahimsa. Just prior to that, after fearlessness, he described about sangshuddhin, pure goodness, another quality. So pure goodness can only come in connection with the supreme absolute goodness, personified, Lord Krishna. So his meaning, you can achieve all these great qualifications in connection with me. If you stay situated, if you obtain my divine connection in your life, if you become my devotee, through your devotion unto me, you will be inheriting, you will be connecting with this supreme divine source which is me. So you will be inheriting such qualifications of mine. These are all my qualifications. That fearlessness, sangshuddha, that sangshuddha qualification, fearlessness, pure mode of goodness, or mode of pure goodness, pure, the best purity, pure characteristic, pure knowledge, pure infinite knowledge, all-encompassing transcendental knowledge, then ability of the pure yoga, I am the Lord, master of all mystical yogic ability. These are actually my qualifications. When you will be possessing, when you are going to have such qualifications, you have to actually connect with me and receive all these qualifications from me. That is the meaning, inner meaning. Without having true connection with me through your devotional relation, you cannot receive, cannot be endowed, blessed with such high-class qualities. Because I am the source, I am the cause, I am the source, I am the origin of such qualifications. That has to be understood. Maybe the rest I can explain tomorrow. It will be I will take another couple of hours to be explaining the meanings.
Just a question.
Yes.
So then, it's described, right? It says the divine and demoniac nature. So now, as I hear you, I understand that fearlessness is just for, and pureness, right? Just for very, 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 very pure souls, right? And either in between something, then, if it's not attainable for simple other souls who are not either divine or demoniac.
In between?
Yes,
the
there's
neutral
something
state.
in between, because like we are not reaching the divine nature. We don't want to be with demoniac, so then what should we do then?
Right. In between is a neutral state. Okay. It's a neutral state between fearing and non-fearing, fearing and fearlessness. It's a neutral state between, contamination, that of contaminated state and state of purity. So, it's a marginal state. It's a marginal level, marginal layer or level or state in between. So, it can be a state of total ignorance, like a state of coma, state of, unconsciousness, like deep slumber, as we can experience through deep slumber. Just as this morning I was explaining to you, in depth, deepest slumber level. We are there, at the same time we are not there. I mean, we are there, we are still living. Life flow is still continuing, but we are not there as experiencer, direct experiencer. At the same time, some experience is there. Otherwise, how can we say I was in slumber? I have been in slumber, means some subtle, non-discriminating kind of experience, marginal experience was there, the state of equilibrium. At the same time, it was not a direct experience. It was an experience, a direct experience of very subtle type of neutral kind of experience. But it's not a positive type, active type of experience. It was a more passive type of experience in the slumber. Experience of being in slumber, I repeat, a passive type of experience, that of equilibrium kind, but not active type of experience of life. So in between the Daivi and Asura, there is a state, neither this nor that, passive, neutral type of state, marginal state. So it cannot be described as qualified whether this way or that way. Neither of that. Kind of zero. Connecting both, kind of zero. Okay, marginal plane. But in the marginal plane of reality, both can be represented also in a dormant, most subtly dormant way. So it's not zerally zero. At the same time, that state is not completely neutral, completely liberated or freed from the influence of Daivi and Asura. It contains influence from the both sides. At the same time, it's neither of them. It's something inexplicable, unaccountable, inexplicable, dormant state, marginal state.
So Krishna gives us just two options, to be with divine nature or with asuras.
Yes, and in between it is like Sayujya Mukti kind. Okay, it's a coma stage. Okay, stage of a coma, a total neutrality, total marginal state. But at the same time, in the coma state, some life activity going on, very subtle way. It's not dead yet. So that state of neutrality in between Daiva and Asura is not dead anything. Still relevant. Okay? It's not anything bogus or absurd. Still it is existing. So it represents that. Now, in the coma stage, life can come back, life may not come back. One may come back to life, one may not come back. Both possibilities are there. It means life is still connected. At the same time, no real life experience there, as we have in a normal way. No active experience of life is there in the coma state. Relatively speaking, if somebody already connecting to dream-like state, is no more coma. But you can understand, you can get the idea, and relatively I'm speaking. While somebody being in the coma state may already be connecting to another subtle level, dream-like level, another level of the life. But materially, while you are judging it, considering it from the bodily level, it is a coma state, passive state of the consciousness. Okay. So, this coma. So in a similar way, we have to understand the state between Daivi and Asura. Okay. All right. If we don't stop on certain point, we'll never stop. This stoppage also means this stoppage also means relative. Stoppage for the time being. Stoppage means to start again. Such stoppage doesn't mean to fully stop. So see, this is another way of explaining what we are explaining so long. We are stopping to begin again, not stopping to stop. Stopping to begin again. Also beginning to stop somewhere for the dynamic release of experience. Beginning to stop and stopping to begin again. That's the reality. All right.